What's up, guys? Ace Poker here. Thanks for tuning into vlog 4. I got 2 sessions in this vlog. We've got a $2,400 swing. As you'll see, there's lots of content, lots of hands. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get right into it. Alright, let's kick this vlog off with pocket sevens. We see a few limps and then an open to 40, and we 3-bet it up to $110. Typically, this hand definitely plays better as a 3-bet instead of just a flat, because when you're flatting, your opponent's going to think that you're not really that strong, and unless you hit a 7 on the flop, when they c-bet, you're practically going to have to fold unless you see a board of all unders, which is very unlikely. So you want to take the aggressive route here and 3-bet and either take it down now, or 3-bet, see a flop, c-bet, and take it down. And it gets back to the initial raiser, and he decides to put in the call. We go to a flop of King Jack 5. Obviously not a very good flop for our exact hand, but a very good flop for our perceived range, as our 3-betting range should contain plenty of jacks, kings, ace-king, aces, king-queen suited, maybe even king-jack suited if we get a little bit out of line. Nonetheless, this smashes our range. So I decide to c-bet here when he checks to me, but I don't like my sizing at all. I think this is where I make my first mistake. I decide to c-bet for $80, and although I would like to size down if I had aces, ace-king, kings, because I completely smashed the flop, the problem is that right now when I did not smash the flop, I'm giving him a good price to call, and the thing is he can call here with 10s, maybe queens, maybe a weak jack, jack 10, queen jack, and I'm not really going to know where I'm at, so I actually think I should size up on this c-bet here for about $150, $175. That way, if he calls, I'll know that he's got a strong enough hand that I'll have to shut down on. Because now, when he calls this $80 and the turn comes an absolute brick, I don't really know what to do when he checks it to me. I definitely should be continuing barreling, but, you know, that's where table dynamics come into play that I currently described to you guys. I did definitely feel that he had a good hand here. So when he checks it to me, I pretty quickly check back, and I also don't like the speed at which I checked back. It really appears as if I've gave up on this hand, because to be honest, I have, but I don't want to let him know that. So when the river comes, another brick, he decides to bet out for $205, and I have to quickly fold this hand, and we're off to a rough start. Alright guys, I promised you that I'd show you the bad plays and the losses as well as the wins and the good plays, so buckle up for this one. To preface this hand, the sevens hand just happened about an hour ago. I've been very card dead. I've been raising, having to fold on the flop, calling raises, having to fold on the flop, and it's just very tilting. So I'm in the small blind here. I look down at ace 10 off. I started the video late, but there's an early position open to 20, and then there's 4 callers, and it's back to me. I obviously could close out the action here and just call. I think that's the worst option out of folding, raising, or calling. So I decided to put in a squeeze play here, raise it up to 100, looking to take down about $80 to $90 without any resistance, or maybe I'll pick up one caller, could c-bet, and then take it down. But there's only one caller on the button, as you see, and we go heads up to a flop here, which comes King Jack 3. So similar to last hand, this is a board that's much better to me, and I'm obviously tilted, and I'm just not making the best decisions here, so I decided to bet out for 50, and for the same exact reasons as last hand, I do not like this bet at all. Obviously, when you're tilted and things aren't going your way, you're not sharp, and you're not doing things the best way. So a $50 bet here I think is absolutely disastrous. He can call with literally any 2 cards, try to hit a set, try to hit a straight, anything. But he decides to call, and then the turn comes another jack. So I think that this is definitely, again, a better card for me. I definitely can apply some pressure. So I decide to bet out for 100, and he pretty quickly calls again. So now I'm not really sure what I'm looking for on the river here.
Call, heads up.
And the river comes a queen. We bank a straight. Wow. After all this bad play, we could finally get some money back. We could be in the green, and things can finally go the right way. I look down at my stack. I have about $400 in my stack. That's a little bit less than the pot. I definitely wanted to make it look like I'm bluffing, as I was debating on any brick, 2, 5, 8, any river pretty much to just jam. I think I could put pressure on a lot of holdings, but now that we actually got there, this is for value instead of a bluff. So you'll see my camera go up here as I go all in, and he snap calls. Literally snap calls. I can't even get my chips out fast enough, and he calls and flips over King Jack. So obviously a disaster here. We lose. Obviously the river kind of didn't really change much. I was gonna jam kind of any river, so that just sucks that he decided to call my $100 3-bet with King Jack, flops 2 pair, turns the effective nuts, and I just jam right into him. So that'll wrap up this session. You guys didn't see, the hands that I raised, folded, or called a raise and folded. I just had a terrible session. So, we bought in for 1,000, out for 0, but stay tuned because I come back the next day and I'm coming back for vengeance. Alright, so we start this session looking down at pocket 9s. There's an open to 20, one caller. We 3-bet it to 75. Both players fold, and it's a great start to the session. Next, we look down at ace-king offsuit. There's a raise directly across from us to 20, a caller to my direct right. We 3-bet this one up to 100, and again, both players fold, which isn't terrible when you have ace-king offsuit, as, you'll have to c-bet and bet if you miss the flop. So we take down about $50 uncontested, and we're up about 100 to start. Alrighty, buckle up here, as this is another one of my favorite hands that I have ever played. We get to the recording a little bit late here, as there is an open to 20, a caller after him, and then I decide to 3-bet it up to $80 here. Nothing, out of the ordinary here, just a standard 3-bet. I actually have a very good hand now. I'm not doing this with anything crazy, and both players make the call. So we're headed to a pretty juicy pot already. $240 in the middle. We're headed to a flop, which comes beautiful. Jack 8-3 rainbow.
Check.
Both players check it over to me. I put out a very standard c-bet, half pot, $125. The first player pretty quickly calls. The next player thinks for a little while and then folds. So we're looking for another clean turn here. Pretty much no jack, no 8, no ace. And we get that, as it comes the most beautiful brick, a 2 of hearts. And I look over at my opponent, and I'm thinking he's going to check to me. I'm thinking, what size am I going to bet here? And he decides to get his chips together like he's ready to go all in. So I've seen this player do some crazy things. He's been playing a lot of hands, so I know immediately as he goes to put his chips together that I'm calling. So I grab a chip in my hand, and I want you guys to see on the bottom right of the screen, as he pushes his chips towards the middle, how fast I snap call this bet.
All in and call.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever seen a faster call? We're headed to a river, which is a nice 5, and he announces that he's just got a 9, so we flip over the kings, and of course, they are good. Wow. We scoop over a $1,300 pot. We've already made back all of the losses from last session, and things are looking up. Alright, there is a lot of things that go into this hand here, as I look down at 8-9 offsuit, and I just want to say this is a hand that you should not be playing, and I know that you guys are going to be like, what the hell, but I want to say that, 1, I'm on the button here, so I want to be definitely a bit wider when I'm in position of everybody. 2, the initial raiser here is somebody that's been playing a lot of pots, and I could tell right away that he's not a good player, and I want to get involved with him. And 3, I would consider myself advanced at poker, and I like to play post flop a lot, so it doesn't honestly really matter what 2 cards I have. If I feel I have an advantage at the table and I can outplay those around me, I'm going to be playing a lot of pots, so when this is bumped up to 40, I decided to get in there here, and it definitely pays off in this hand. Alright, so we see a very good flop here as we flop open-ended on a board of 10, 7, 5. So any 6 or jack will give us a straight, and the initial raiser and the other caller check over to me, and I decide to start bluffing here. I bet out for $60 here. There is one fold, and then the initial raiser just decides to call. The turn does not help us at all as it comes the 2 of diamonds, and I still think that this is just a better board for me as he's raising a wide variety of hands, and this board is just better for me as somebody who's just flatting on the buttons. I'll have plenty of weird 2 pairs, plenty of sets, and I just want to keep putting pressure here. So when he checks it to me again, I bet $80, and he calls pretty quickly. So I do think I'm going to shut down on any river here, as I did say that he is a weaker player, and I think he'll call down pretty light here. He might even just call me down with a 7, you know, pocket 6s, something like that if he just really doesn't believe me. But there is no need as the river comes a 6. So we make our straight. He checks it over to me for a 3rd time. And I want to go big here. As I said, he's a weaker player. He's been playing very loose. He's shown to call down. So I size up. I bet $175. He thinks about it for about 30 seconds here and then flicks in the call. I flip over the straight. He chuckles a little bit, and we are good. Alright, that'll do it for vlog number 4. Thank you guys for watching. We got in the game for 1,000, out for 2,300, profit of 1,300, so that'll cover all the early losses, plus $300. That's always nice. Nothing I love more than watching them count out the hundreds. I just want to say stay tuned for vlog number 5. I'm going to put up a little bit of a preview here as we get our biggest win ever. We break $15,000 profit this year. We've got some crazy hands. Have about $4,000 in stack. Just a little bit of a preview, so definitely subscribe and look out for vlog number 5 on the way soon.